when we set it just here, we can now reference the value of this anywhere in our JavaScript file by just using key. And so we don't have to basically type this Twitter is greater than Twitter in multiple places in our JavaScript file. So if later we ever change this key, it's very easy to update our JavaScript file. All you have to do is just set this key variable to the new value at the top of the JavaScript file, and you don't have to go and search and find where the old value is and replace it with the new value. This second line here, this last refresh variable, is just storing what looks like a date that we're using. That's somewhere in 2009, probably like January 1st of 2009. That's what it looks like to me. And we're going to be using this so we can refresh the posts in our Twitter page, or in our web page. And what we're going to do is we're going to update that value every time we receive an update with the current time. So when we ask for messages from the server again, we only get messages from the server that were created after this last refresh time. So that's basically why we're storing this. Okay, so let's see what else it is asking us to do. Oh, and John actually explains what I just said in the documentation in this paragraph, so that's pretty nice. Part 5, fill in hide form. Okay, let's see, where is hide form? It's right here. Hide the form. Okay. Show the add a new Twitter button. This must follow immediately after hiding, not during. Okay. So let's see. Where's the form? Here's the form. And there's a name for this form, I suppose. Oh. And we probably want to hide the form and the input buttons. That's what I'm assuming. So, yeah, that makes sense. So let's just go and hide this div, actually. I think that's what he wants us to do anyway. So I'm going to select that div by using its ID, which is status maker, and I'm just going to call .hide on it, and that should hide it. And then what else does he want us to do? He wants us to show the add a new Twitter button. Okay, so where is that? Add a new Twitter button. Okay, so I guess it's this one, new status. Oh wait, is this what he wants us to do? Am I confused? Okay, yeah, I think that is what he wants us to do. And he wants us to show this. And he says he wants us to show it after, not during. Okay. If we want to do that, all we have to do is just put it just under the other line. So once the status maker is hidden, this should be visible. So we're just going to call .hide and .show respectively. And what else does it say? In document.ready, please note that you will be encoding each of these tasks. Okay, let me just go back to this page really quick and check that the changes that we made worked. Okay, maybe we have to do some more first. In document.ready, please note that you will be coding each of these tasks, specs such as data type, JSONP, hidden, hide. By default, the form is hidden. Hide, add a new Twitter button. Then show form. Again, this must follow immediately after hiding the button. Let's see. Okay, so I'm assuming we want to be able to click this button, and when we click this button, we're going to show the form. And when we do that, we want to hide the button again. And then if we click the cancel button in the form, it's going to show the Twitter button again, and vice versa. So let me see. So the form is called status maker. We have hide post form. Okay. I would actually create another function to do this. Okay, so let's create another function. So he has hide form. Let's create a function that's going to basically show the form. So in here, I'm just basically going to do the opposite of this. So just copy and paste it, and I'm going to change this to show, and this to hide. Okay, and then in here, when we click this button, what is it? What's the name of this button? New status. We want to show the form, and okay, so select it, dot click, function, show form. Okay, and then inside here there's a cancel button, and when we cancel it, we want to hide the form. So I'm going to just do the same thing here. Select it by ID, cancel button, dot click, function, hide form. Okay, save that out, and let's refresh the page and see if this works. Okay, so it showed the form when we clicked it, but cancel hides the form. So it looks like we're good. Oops, let me close this. What else does he want us to do? Okay, later on you will add some code to refresh every 30 seconds, but sometimes you want to immediately refresh. Refresh the feed when the refresh link is clicked. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so he has created a refresh function down here. So it's not implemented yet, but we will just tie in the refresh button to trigger this function down here. So I'm just going to do the same thing in here. Select it by ID, do dot click, do function, do an anonymous callback, and call refresh feed. Okay. Now that we have the form done, okay, alright, okay, so that's to post it, right? Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what he wants us to do now. Okay, so it sounds like he wants us to implement the part where we're actually gonna post or create a new Twitter message. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me see. Is this under? Where does he want us to do this? Okay, well, what I'm going to do is just inside, I'm going to just use this submit button, and, okay. Okay, so I'm going to use that submit button, because we want to submit the form when we submit the, we want to do an AJAX call when we submit the form, so I'm going to do dot click, function, and then I'm going to use the AJAX method for jQuery, and it just looks like this. You have $.AJAX, and inside it's going to take a hash for the parameters, and you can actually go to the jQuery library to look up the documentation on this also, and you can see you know what I'm talking about, and I'm actually going to refer to this in case I forget. Okay, so we do AJAX, and then I know it takes, because I use this thing a lot, data parameter, and what else does it take? Data type, and we're going to do JSON P, and then we also need to specify the URL. And the URL is this right here. It's http://twitter.decal.aw-industries.com slash messages slash create. Okay, and the parameters. So inside data, we have to. This is where we're gonna pass basically the data to the server from our forms. And John says that we want to pass something called name and something called message. So this is probably just from our form basically. So we're gonna want to be able to retrieve the value that we have set in the form. So here's a ID form name. So I'm gonna just do form name, and I'm gonna grab the value that it's set to. So the way that we do that is we look at that value attribute on it. So I'm going to call .attribute value, and that's going to get basically the value that we have entered into the text field. And for the text area, I'm just going to basically do the same thing, except I'm going to use form message instead of form name. And sorry, I don't want semicolons in here. When you're doing these hashes, or when you're doing things with these curly braces, you want to use commas inside instead. So that's what I have there. What else do we have to do? Oh, and we have to give it the key also. So I'm going to do that. Oops. I missed a semicolon there. Or I missed a colon there, sorry. Key. And then we want to just pass it the key that we set up here. So that's what I'm referencing. And sorry, these are, let me just explain this a little bit. So this data attribute passes what are called key value pairs. This is the key and this is the value. So it's kind of a name and then the value that's associated with that name. So we're passing it 3 keys and 3 values. The first key value pair is name, and the value is what's in the input form on our web page under the name attribute. What is going on? Sorry, let me check out what's going on. Maybe I should rehearse next time. Okay, so I'm missing a comma here. And if you saw actually Firebug complained down here, and it's actually going to tell me, I believe, where that error is. So let me refresh the page, and yeah, okay, the error is gone. Sorry, so it's going to grab the name value here that we type in. So if we typed ASDA, it would retrieve that value. The message, if I type, my message, it would basically retrieve the value there too. And to test that our code is working, you can actually copy and paste it into the console, and you can run it. So I just pasted the code that I had in there, and it returned ASDA. So it is reading this value correctly. And we can double check that for the message itself also, just doing the same thing, and it says my message. So looks like we're good. And then data type JSONP. Okay, so it says, so now John is saying when the page has been submitted successfully, we want to hide the form and refresh our feed. So to give it a success callback, we're going to use the success key there, and we're going to give it an anonymous function. And in the anonymous function, we want to hide the form, so I'm going to just call hide form. And then we also want to refresh the feed, so refresh feed. Okay, and let's see. And he says that now in part E, he says when we first land on the page, we also want to refresh the feed. So just in the document.loads, we want to refresh the feed here. Refresh feed. And let's see what else we have to do. Okay, so he wants to refresh the feed every 30 seconds. And we can do that pretty easily. Let me skip that for now. What you would use is use something called set interval, and set interval takes an anonymous function that's going to be run every however long you set the interval value to be, and then some value in milliseconds. So if we wanted 30 seconds, we would want, did you say 30 seconds? That's a long time. Okay, 30 seconds, and we want 30,000 milliseconds, and that's going to be 30 seconds. And then you would type whatever you want to type in here. But I'm going to hold off on doing that for now. Okay, so let's look at part 3.